Sweet. I think we're here. Unless
Sweet.
something, abnormal happens.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
you know, never know with technology, my man.
Yeah, no. I never know. I never know.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
All right.
Wh- You want to do the honors or should I do it?
I think you should do it. You got that cadence and I think you should be the opener.
Okay. Well, what's up, guys? Joe here, and welcome to the second episode, the second first episode of Mechanics of Myth, where we discuss video games and the mechanics and how the story come together so that they can mash into awesomeness and sometimes train wrecks, because people don't know how to do their jobs properly sometimes. And well, it is what
Yeah.
it is. So, um, yeah, this is Jordan, and writes, he actually has a book, which I think is right
I do.
behind you.
Yes. Right here. Katie Wolf Jackson story. You can buy it on Amazon. I'll be going on a book tour starting November, all through Iowa for about 7 months. Going to be signing books, so come get your copy. It's a fun story. It's about a Marine that is medically retired. He's living in Montana, trying to figure out life. His best friend and platoon mate lives with him, and they're just trying to overcome some of their darkness and also survive being stateside after being medically retired. But it's a story of hope, story of healing. It's a story of a man feeling like he has absolutely nothing and then finding things that he thought he would never have before because he's so stuck in the past that he can't focus on the present and doesn't see a future. So it's really a story of hope and also kind of a love letter to the veteran and military community, letting them know like we see you and we're here for you and welcome home.
Nice, nice. See, you know what? It's a good thing that you're doing this now because when you finally
Yeah.
go on your book tour and you're doing interviews, you're gonna have the cadence down. So it's good practice. It's good practice.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to be going and doing a 30-minute interview next month at Christian Television Network about the book. So that's going to be a lot too.
Oh, nice. We're gonna have to put you in the we're actually gonna have to put you in the Kingdom Builders alert. You know?
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
cool. That'd be dope.
We're gonna have to put you on there, and then we're gonna actually have to clip the interview. So, when you do that, when you like finally get to the interview, I don't know, somehow send it to me or something like that to where I can
I
like
will
kind of
figure it
like
out.
clip it, and then that way I can like just like put it out there.
Yeah. If anything, I can send you the website that they'll post it to, and then let you
Okay.
figure it out from there.
Yeah, yeah,
But I would like to clip it too. So I'll probably be doing the same because I want to share it on my stuff as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so are you gonna are like so here's the thing. Are you gonna do it on like your own thing? Are you starting us like a separate YouTube channel for it, or are you just gonna do it on you're gonna do it on your
I think I'm gonna
Redeeming
stick
Dry
just
Bones?
redeeming dry bones, man. Just keep
Okay.
that umbrella going. I really want to just kind of everything. So the goal of redeeming dry bones is to make it so everything that I'm doing for
Hmm.
the kingdom, which this book I wrote for the kingdom,
Hmm.
stays under the parameters of the umbrella. And it's just kind of like, oh, what does this guy do? Oh, he does this, he does that, he does. Oh, wow, this could. And it's just kind of like use your gifts for the glory of the kingdom, and don't be ashamed what it's for.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's kind of how I feel with like kingdom building culture, where it's just like
Yeah,
because it's like when you're growing up and you're like and you grow up in a Christian household, or even if you just came to Christ, right? It's like you're trying to consume more media that at least keeps you in the headspace of at least not, what do you want to say? Not so more family friendly. But
yeah,
if you don't have to like stick it to like kids, like it doesn't have to be like Teletubby levels of like cheese, right? You just have to have like enough to where it's like you just have to have family friendly enough to where like kids can absorb the information, and this
Yeah.
don't have that. It doesn't have the mozzarella factor of just like just where adults can't handle it. Like, oh, this for kids, so go somewhere
Mhm.
with that. You know.
Mhm.
So I would hope that people would come with their ideas for God, right? And like you
Mhm.
said, use their time, talent, and treasure for what God has put in them to do. And
Yeah.
and it don't have to be like artistic stuff, but hopefully it is artistic, just
Yeah.
because like there's not that much media out there. We got video
Yeah.
games, right? But the video games were made over 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. They're few and
They're
far
not that good.
between. And they're not that good,
They're
you
not that
know?
good.
They're like, let's be honest, they're trash. Christian media just
Mhm.
started getting kind of
Mhm.
good within the past
Mhm.
like 5 years.
Especially the last 2 years, I would say. The
Yeah,
last 2 or 3 years, it's really blown up.
yeah.
Um, One that I was really, really impressed with that was kind of different from anything else that I'd seen before
Mhm.
was that movie that came out on Angel Studios, The Shift.
Okay.
That one was really well done. It was a little bit different than your standard uh, come to Jesus type film. It was gritty, it was thrilling, it was raw, it had uh, different dimension traveling. It had like all these things that a lot of Christians will be like, you believe in other dimensions? Oh, you can't even read the Bible, like they get in
Right.
that mindset. But it was a depiction of the story of Job.
Yeah.
And it was really beautiful the way that they did it because there's this man who essentially lost everything. Um, and his wife, lost his wife. And they were using his wife to attack him and all this other stuff. And he's in a different dimension. The devil himself tries to like recruit him and he starts praying to God. And the devil flees in the middle of a restaurant. Like it is so cool. Like it
Mhm.
is. I will watch that movie over and over and over again just to break it down and pick it apart. Like the acting was decent. The guy that played the devil, I'm trying to remember his name, but
Oh,
he's
oh, I know who you talk about. I know who you talk about
yeah,
because he played Damien Dark and in
yes, yes,
Arrow,
yes, 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 yes,
and
yes,
he
yes.
was in the Rundown or something like that.
Was he in the rundown?
He was in one of them rock movies where he played a bouncer.
That was Walking Tall, and he wasn't a bouncer. He was
Yeah,
the casino
right, right,
owner.
right. Walking Tall.
Neil McDonough
Yup, yup, yup.
or
Neil
Neil
McDonough.
McDonough, Dono,
Yeah,
Neil McDonough. McDonough. I don't know how
McDonough. Neil McDonough.
McDonough,
Yeah,
McDonough,
yeah, sure.
Neil McDo. I'll go with that.
Listen, if he sees this,
Yeah,
no, I just want you to know, Neil, we did not do
yeah,
our research on your name.
right,
So,
right.
so,
And
so,
even more than that,
yeah,
big fan,
yeah,
big fan,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
big
I,
fan.
you know what? I when I don't know if you've seen an interview with him when he was talking about like why he only plays bad guys in movies.
A little bit, yeah. But which one
Okay,
are you referencing?
so he was at I don't know like where he was at. I think he was at some award show or something like that. And he said so he's a Christian. So that's like
Mhm.
that so
Yep.
that'll give context to what I'm about to say.
Right,
So
right.
he said the reason why he plays bad guys in movies is because he said, look, if I play a bad guy in a movie, it's like
Hmm.
I can fake kill somebody and I can throw this guy like kind of like do like the force chokes and all this other stuff.
Hmm.
And then, kill 50 dudes and they'll get up, walk away, and we'll, high five each other and say, "Hey, it was great working with you," and still be friends at the end of the day. Because it's all just like
Hmm.
pretend. It's like, but when you're playing the good guy, you're often in like romantic scenes where you got to save the girl, and he's married in real life, and so he's like, no, I'm only trying to kiss my wife. That's it.
Hmm.
Right? He's like, I'm
Hmm.
not trying to do that. He's like, because when you're kissing somebody, you're kissing them for real. It's like whether or
Yeah.
not it's like tongue or not, it's like you're
Yeah.
still making contact
Yeah.
with that person. And that was his reasoning behind it. I was like, I respect that.
Yeah. And I don't know when he came to Christ, to be honest.
Mhm.
I do know that there were some characters that I was like, dang, okay, that's a
Yeah.
lot. Um, for instance, his character in Justified. Like, I don't know if he was following Christ when he did that character or not,
Mhm.
because that character was like, it was bad. It was bad. But to see him now, like, I'm a fan of his for who he is now. So like anything that he was back before or the past, like the fact that he's standing on the principles that he's standing on now, and he's doing such a good job as an actor. Like, you can tell the dude loves his craft for one,
Mhm.
and for two, specifically the playing the devil. He made a point for everyone in the theater to absolutely hate the devil.
Mhm.
Not a character that was cool, not a character that you wanted in your corner, but to show how maniacal, how manipulative, how cowardly, how um, minuscule the enemy really is when it comes to the power of our God. And it was very much a well planned out and well given execution of that role, which, let's be honest, I don't know if many people today could
Mhm.
have played it the way that that man played it.
Yeah. He's definitely he's and he's got a look to where it's just like, I don't know. If you like, it's like he's played so many like bad guy roles to where it's like when you look at him, it's like, oh, he's the bad guy. Like I've rarely seen him, and I'm not saying that he hasn't, but I've rarely seen him in roles where he's played the good guy.
I have. I have. There's a
Yeah,
couple.
yeah,
But it's a good guy, but it's like he's the gunslinging good guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's not your standard good guy. He's like the dude with the rough pass type good guy, which I also respect.
yeah.
But yeah, no, he does good for his craft, man. That's for sure. I
Well,
appreciate it.
it kind of reminds me, what you said kind of reminds me of like how like I use like, I don't know if he's actually a follower of Christ, you know,
Hmm.
because of this one role. And then it's like when you realize like, and this might be getting too into the like theology or whatever, but it's like when you look at Denzel Washington, right? It's
Hmm.
like, okay, well, he has claimed to be a Christian for a while now.
Hmm.
Maybe even over the like maybe he's always been a Christian or raised in a Christian household. He's always had the idea of God, right?
Right.
The when I say God, I'm talking about the one from the Bible, right?
Right.
And then to the point to where even in Training Day, he said, he wrote on the top of the script that the whole point of the script was like the wages of sin is death type of thing, and he wanted that to shine
Hmm.
through his character, right? And
Hmm.
you kind of see that, and you kind of see that in the movie. And then it's like, but then when you go to like but it's like even in the movie, you was kind of simulating stuff, all the stuff that Neil was talking about, like, hey, even with Two Guns and different
Yeah.
movies of that nature. So I'm like, I don't know how you reconcile with that, but it seems like he's a little bit closer to Christ in his older age, and he's a little bit
Yeah.
more pickier in his older age. So I don't know if something happened the older that he got, but I don't know. But some of those roles, I was just like, are you just saying that you're a Christian, but you don't really believe it? Like you only behave like it up to a certain degree. And look, I get it. I have my struggles, so I'm not blind to like people's, flaws. But at the same time, I'm like, you put yourself on a public platform, and it's kind of hard to pick that out. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's
Yeah.
not me bashing him. That's just saying I I don't know where to separate that. me personally.
Right. And thank God we don't have to. Like
Right,
I will say that. Thank God we are not the ones that have to do that
right,
because there's a lot of things in my life that I know I've done either in my past or thought about doing or made an attempt to do that I would be like, dude, I ain't worth nothing. You know,
hmm,
don't even try to weigh it out. Just hit that gavel and send me on my way.
hmm,
But you know, there is something that has to be said about a movie's a movie. Um,
yeah,
a TV show is a TV show. Parading around with a naked woman on a TV show together, playing, having sex, stuff like that. I don't know if that's a wise move for someone who wants to, that's probably not wise.
right,
But at the same time, like that's between you and God to handle,
hmm,
right? It'd be different if he was my close personal friend. Like if you were Denzel Washington, I'd be like, brother, what are you doing?
right, right,
Right? But that's what people don't understand is like, yes, these people are on this platform, but at the same time, like the church is very, very good at shooting our own,
yep, yep,
especially in the entertainment field. And that pushes these people to deeper places of darkness. Now, you said in his older age, he seems to be closer to God. I agree with you, but I also remember him and remember the Titans.
yeah,
Like you could see God off of him. You know what I mean?
hmm,
Like it was radiating off of that character. And it wasn't even a film that was dedicated to God. It was a film that was dedicated to this team that
hmm,
overcame one of the most trialing times and came together as a unit and learned how to work together under this man's tutelage. But his character was that of like he was a firm father, but he was a good father to those
right,
boys. And you can only do that by the glory of God and having God move through you and the wisdom and the discernment that he showed and the just all of it. Like maybe something happened in between then to where he kind of stepped out and was like, yeah, I'm going to go do these other roles that, probably aren't for the best. But at the same time, like, I don't know. Movie's a movie for one. For
hmm,
two, he's got to answer to God about it, not me.
right.
Um, and for three, like, there's some of those movies that I really enjoyed. You know,
Hey, if we just being honest, like,
and we're just being honest,
you're right,
like Equalizer, yes,
right.
all day, every day. Um, you know, all that stuff. But we're getting way into the weeds. Let's bring it back to what we're
Right. Well, I
trying
was
to do
actually,
here.
I was actually gonna bring it back
Yeah.
by saying this. Um, a lot of movies, with me, like a
Hmm.
lot of movies, uh, uh, teach story, teach morals, teach things like that. Um,
Hmm.
I, I think that games can do the same,
Oh yeah.
right? And I would even venture to say that they're more impactful in a lot of cases than the movies and the TV shows because you have an active participation
Yeah.
in the medium, right? So I guess when it comes to story, um,
Hmm.
what do you think is like what do you think is that line of I guess artistry and like trying to teach a lesson from like your own from you like your own background, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like this. It's like let's say let's say there are Christian, video game makers out there,
Hmm.
and but because they're used to handling games that are like the Bloodborne, the Star Wars what you want to call them I'm starting to sound like an old man. What you want to call like the default for when you don't know the name is just what you want to call them or the whatchamacallits or whatever. Star Wars,
Yeah.
Survivor, Jedi Survivor, and Fallen Order,
Fallen
and
Order.
them. Yep.
Yeah.
when you have games like that, and then Mortal Kombat, and then
Hmm.
Evil Within, and all these horror games, and games
Hmm.
that are showing all different types of stuff, right?
Hmm.
Where's Last of Us 2? Anyway, when you already know.
I already know. I already
You
know.
already know. W-
Yeah.
we might that might be a rant for like
Yeah.
another time.
Be
But
the rest
what
of our time if we start on that.
oh yeah, nah, we would just we shoot, man, you be
Yeah.
late for your appointment.
I know it. I know it.
Yeah. Uh where's the line, right? To where it's like, man, we are trying to teach something, because the whole thing seems to be like, oh, don't push the agenda, don't push this.
Mhm.
But when we say the agenda, it's usually the agenda that we don't like, right?
Right.
But we have our agenda too, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has an agenda. It's just which one do you rock with and which one do you not,
Yeah.
and which one is
Um,
valid and which one is like, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's an interesting question from a writer's perspective because there's a difference between writing a novel
Mhm.
versus writing a game,
Yeah.
right? So, what are you wanting from the game? Well, you're wanting people to be entertained. What are you wanting from the novel? You're wanting people to be entertained. So it's same there, right? What do you want from a game? You want people to be invested. Same with the novel. But then you get to a point where not only do you want people to be invested in the character,
Mhm.
but in the game, you also want them to be able to go do these missions and do these other things and get lost in this world. A novel, it's you just go on the journey with the character. And I dictate how the journey goes. You don't. As a video game writer or someone who's writing a game, the player is the one who dictates the game. You may put certain boundaries in order to, offset things, but how many times have you, quote unquote, broken a game by finding an easier way to take out the big bad?
Shoot, not that much, I'll be honest.
I've done it a lot.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot. It's one of those where it's like, why would I fight them on your terms when I can find a better way,
Mhm.
right? But how do we approach that as people who create entertainment, people who drop entertainment? Well, the idea is this: know your story. How do you know your story? You know your character. How do you know your character? You put your character in the details. You want to stay true to that character the whole time. You
Mhm.
don't want to you don't want to delineate one way or the other with your character. You want them to be consistent. You want them to be reliable in that sense for your audience. See, you'll lose your audience in video games when the character doesn't do anything that's revolving around who they are as a person,
Mhm.
or if they delineate from that. So, as much as I love this game, I'm not throwing shade at it. It is the only game 100%ed ever,
Okay.
like ever, because I'm not that big into getting trophies and all this other stuff. I just want to play the game. I'm interested in the story. The trophies don't matter to me.
Right.
The only game I've ever 100%ed, Days Gone.
Okay. Okay.
That's it. That's it. That's the only one. And the reason why is because it's just such a fun game and the story is so good. But one thing I had an issue with, this dude is supposed to be a veteran,
Mhm.
skilled fighter, skilled in hand-to-hand combat, able to take down all these hordes of zombies and whatnot. Yet when he gets into hand-to-hand fights with people, he gets his like butt handed to him constantly. He got his butt handed to him by a one-armed man,
Who?
Boozer. Deacon gets his butt
Wait,
handed to
wait a
him.
minute. Wait a minute. Is Deacon a veteran?
Yeah,
He
he's
is?
Army. Yeah.
I thought he was just like a bike rider.
No,
I forgot.
he was in the army. He was in the army. He came back. He became part of the gang. But the dude's supposed to be a vet. That's why he gets in when he finally finds his wife
Hmm,
in that compound thing in Crater Lake.
yeah.
Uh, the reason why they let him enlist is because of his military background.
Oh, okay.
So then that old dude, the commander, like that dude just grabs him by the throat and he's like, I can't fight him back. Like, dude, come on, man. Like that doesn't track with who Deacon is as a man. You know,
Was he in infantry though?
I think
He,
so.
oh, I was about to say he might have been
Yeah.
doing desk work or something like that. I don't know.
No, he was combat. He was
Okay.
combat. He lost a lot of men. And that's part of his background.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like for me personally, I'm like, listen, I spent a lot of time with combat vets. I know how they operate. I know how they think. I know all that stuff. Um, had a lot of conversations with them and everything, especially when writing this book because I had to do my research. But to have him just not be a skilled fighter doesn't make sense when the dude is a skilled fighter and a
Hmm.
survivalist. It's the reason why he's survived so long. And he's got this drive. What's his drive? To save his wife. Like Boozer, I could understand him getting tooled up a little bit because it's his best friend. He's missing an arm. He doesn't want to hurt him. Also, Boozer's a big dude, so him getting tooled up by him makes sense. Uh, but the old dude or Schizo
Hmm.
or any of those things, like, why is that a hard fight for Deacon? That doesn't make sense to me.
It's been a long time. I don't know. Maybe he got a beer gut. I have no idea.
Oh, we
You-
don't got a fear guy. Anyway,
I'm
so
just kidding.
the reason why I say this is because in those moments, like it delineates from the character,
Yeah.
right? Um, so it makes it so it's a little bit like unbelievable at that point. Like this dude's supposed to be this big bad, you know. He's supposed to be this dude that can take on hordes and hordes and hordes of zombies when nobody else can, or whatever you want to call them. In that game, I think they call them like
No, you're right. The hordes.
the hordes. He takes them on, right? Nobody else can do it, but he's doing it. And you're doing it as him, and then all of a sudden you get a fist fight with somebody and you get tooled up. Like that don't make no sense.
See, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because see, this is the mechanics part of the thing. When the
Hmm.
mechanics of when the mechanics of what you can do in game don't match what's going on in the story, when there's like it doesn't matter which way, either the character is more capable in the cutscene or the character is more capable in the game. Either way, it don't make sense. In the specific case that you're talking about, that's frustrating because I'm like, I know, like gameplay wise, like I could take this dude out. I could take all these, zombies out. These what they call them in that way in that universe. It's not walkers,
No,
stalkers,
no, it's man, I
creepers,
don't remember
jeepers. I don't know. It's something. Like every
something.
e, every zombie game has their own slang for zombies,
Yeah,
or every like fictional universe that includes zombies has their own slang for zombies. Walking
yeah.
Dead has walkers. Uh,
Hmm.
Last of Us has the infected or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Something like that.
yeah.
You know, um, but
Trying to remember what they're called.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and then you have then you got, Dying Light has their thing, right? But
Hmm.
it's exactly like you said. It's like, okay, well, I know I can do this with a knife. I can,
Hmm.
and I'm struggling with this. You
Hmm.
remember them zombies that was basically like roided up?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, them
Yep.
roided up ones, you could put them on fire. They will
Hmm.
and pump them with like 600 rounds of
Hmm.
lead from a LMG, and then it's just like they'll just tank that. It's
Oh yeah.
like,
Yeah.
nah, like nah. But then it's like when you get into a fight, a bare fist fight in the cutscene, you can't do
Yeah.
nothing. It's like,
Mhm.
come on,
Yeah.
bro. But
Yeah.
that's the same way I feel about that's the same way I feel about uh uh that's the same way I feel about Metal Gear to a degree.
Okay.
Like one of the like the early one, like the one that they're remaking. Uh,
Yeah.
I when he could strip the gun and do all this stuff, I'm like, why
Hmm.
can't you make the game more like the cutscene?
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
you know, that's just me.
Maybe they will now that they're remaking it.
They'll make
That'd
it
be kind of cool.
they'll have a control scheme that's close to
Yeah.
the one that I showed you, but
Yeah.
it's not gonna be fully that. It's not gonna be
Yeah.
fully that.
Yeah.
But you know, I get to a degree why certain games aren't trying to trying to do that is because it'll have implications of like
Yeah.
what you can do, how easy you can defeat the bosses, and like
Yeah.
and it'll throw off the game balancing. Like I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if you were thinking about that, why didn't you like, you know, try to rearrange the games to where it's like you know these are the abilities, let them do that junk like in the game and
Yeah.
then transfer it over to cutscenes. Let My thing is let the game dictate the cutscenes
Yeah.
and not
Yeah. Let
the
the
other way
story drive
around.
the narrative.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Let the story drive the narrative. And that's what I try to tell people. So I'm actually, you know this, but
Right.
I'm releasing a 6 week creative novel writing course starting October 29th. Hour and a half a night for a week, Tuesday nights, $300 a person if people are interested. But in that, I'm going to give everybody a little taste of what I talk about. In that thing, I tell them very clearly, like, the story doesn't get to drive your character. Your character gets to drive your story. What I mean by that is you don't build your character to fit a setting. You put your character in a setting and see what they'll do about it, right?
Mhm.
So you put your character in the story. Let's say you got a dude that's um, three-time MMA champ. We'll go light heavyweight, 205, right?
Mhm.
Big dude, not a small dude, not the biggest dude in the room, but a big dude,
Yeah.
right? Three-time UFC champ. He gets in a
Roadhouse.
room.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He gets in a room. Roadhouse had Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's small guy, 145, 155. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
um, you get him in a room with three dudes that want to tool him up, and let's try to make it even and give one of them a baseball bat.
yeah. Okay.
What's he gonna do?
He's
He's
going
probably going to try to grapple the dude with the bat
bat
first.
first. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I would do.
right. Yeah. But at the same time, he's going to grapple in a way to where he's not going to try to take him to the ground because he takes him to the ground, he's going to get curb stomped by the other dude. So what he's probably going to do is he's probably going to put him in his clinch. So grab his head like this. When this dude tries to come and hit him, he's probably going to turn him so he winds up hitting his buddy in the back. He might get hit by this guy, but at least now he's technically only fighting two guys instead of three guys. So he can throw an elbow, he can take the bat from him, he can do whatever. But at that point, you got to remember, like, this dude knows how to fight, but he's used to fighting people one on one. So his best effort is to get people distance so he can take one dude at a time, fade in, fade out. Don't have weapons because they don't have weapons in MMA. Try to take that weapon out of there, but it would be hard. It wouldn't be easy for him. Um, but if you put him in a room with one dude with a baseball bat, very easy. Very easy. Why? Because he's going to go for a swing. He's going to absorb. He's going to take him to the ground, and then he's just going to beat the brakes off of him. Especially the dude doesn't have training.
Right.
Why? Because that's what he's trained to do. So if you want it to be a hard fight, make that hard fight fit your character, not your character fit that hard fight.
Right.
Simple as that. So when it goes to game mechanics in video games too, like cutscenes need to show the level of uh, competency that your character has. It has to show the level of skill, the level of endurance, the level of everything. Now, I get it. If you have a cutscene where the dude gets shot 3 times, he's probably not gonna do what he did before. You
Right.
know, they did that pretty well with oh, what game was that? Modern Warfare 2. Let's go back to the original Modern Warfare 2. You're playing as Soap, right?
Right.
You're going after Shepard. You get to the end. All of a sudden, Shepard comes out of nowhere, stabs you in the chest with a knife.
Hmm.
So you're on the ground. You got a knife in your sternum, which I don't care what what you've done in your past, what kind of bad dude you are. You got a blade sticking out of your chest in your sternum area. You're going to be laid out for a minute. Like you might not get up from that. But then, Shepard is beating the brakes off of Price. Why is Shepard beating the brakes off of Price? Well, for one, he's bigger than Price and he uses that, right? They're both skilled fighters, but he's beating Price because he's bigger than Price. So he's using his weight, his height, his skills as an advantage. That, and they got different methods of fighting. Why? Because Price is SAS.
Hmm.
Price is not SAS, sorry, MI6, right? He's
I think he used
he's
SAS too.
is it SAS?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is SAS.
Yeah.
He's SAS. He is a European special forces. Shepard is an American special forces. He's going to fight different. They're both going to fight different. They're aware of each other's strengths, but they're trained differently. So he's using his strengths, his understanding of combat differently. So if you have a Muay Thai guy go up against a karate guy, uh, karate guy's best option is to keep the dude at distance. Keep him at distance. Try to kick. Try to kick and evade. Try to kick and evade. Why? Because karate is all about openings. Karate is all about how can I hit you from way outside the pocket. Muay Thai, he's going to want to get in close and get in dirty. He's going to be chopping at the legs like they're a piece of wood, driving his shin into your calves and everything else. And he's going to be using elbows and knees to put you on the ground because that's what Muay Thai fighters do. That or he's going to clinch. If it's a karate dude, clinch all day long. Why? Because
Right.
karate don't know grappling very well. They know it some, they don't know it very well. So you get him in the clinch, you put him up against a wall, yeah, it's over. But so in that moment, Shepard recognizes some of Price's moves and he knows how to like counter some of them. And that's the only reason why he was able to get Price to the ground. And the way that he got Price to the ground, by the way, beautiful throw, beautiful judo throw, hip throw to the ground, and then he's got him in full mount. He's just beating the brakes off of him. But your character is Soap,
Right.
right? What do we know about Soap? Soap is a tough dude. Soap is a tough dude that will risk his life and limb to save somebody else. He did with Roach in the beginning, right?
Hmm.
Right in the snow mission, the ice mission where you're trying to sneak in and everything. He saves him from falling off the side of the cliff face with ice picks. So this dude, true to his character, starts pulling the knife out of his chest, and you're having to pull the knife out of his chest, and you feel like you're like in it, like you could feel your heart beating fast, and like that's oh man, the mechanics and the writing in that moment are just second to none.
Right.
Um, so he pulls it out, and then he aims, and it's hard to aim, and in that moment it's hard to aim, but he trusts his training. Dude has a background. He knows how to throw knives. He knows how to do these things. Sticks it in Shepard's head. But he doesn't get off the ground. Price has to carry him to the helicopter. That being said, your character gets to dictate the story. So especially in video games, you become invested in those characters, and you're expecting at that point that Soap's going to die because everybody up until that point that you played as has died, right? So in that moment, you're like, man, Soap is going to die. Soap is going to die. And all of a sudden, true to who he is, the seasoned vet that just does not quit, has no has no stronger bond than what he has with Price.
Mhm.
Someone who is dedicated and will do whatever it takes to complete the mission. As long as he keeps his integrity intact, he will do whatever it takes to complete the mission. It's true to who Soap is. So when you take that into the entertainment world and you try to push a narrative or push something, well, what's the narrative in that? Loyalty, honor, and respect go a long way.
Yeah,
If you're fighting for something, that's good. If you're fighting for someone, that's better.
right.
And so that's kind of what they're pushing through that whole thing,
And
right?
it's more it's
Mm.
it's more tangible emotionally. I know that
Right,
seems like an
exactly.
oxymoron, but I just mean in the sense to where it's like, okay, when you're fighting for an idea, what does that idea look like? What does it look like when it's actualized? You can't
Hmm.
grasp it. So and it almost lends like to the idea where it's like, like some of these characters who've gone crazy
Hmm.
for fighting for this idea or have gotten this bad reputation for fighting for this idea. It's like you have to keep yourself somewhat mentally on edge, because if you don't grab onto a feeling that's like like I said, tangible in its
Hmm.
intangibleness, right?
Hmm.
To where you can carry that emotion into whatever fight for that idea, so you can keep that edge, right? So you can
Yeah.
keep going after that idea. But when you're
Yep.
fighting for somebody, like you said, it's like it's there at that moment. Like when the
Hmm.
enemy's down, the fight is over when you're
Hmm.
fighting for somebody.
Hmm.
When there's no longer a threat, like we know the end is within sight. It's right there. It's right
Hmm.
across the finish line. But fighting
Hmm.
for that idea, that's
Yeah.
hard. So when you're like, and when you bring that into the video game, it's like I
Hmm.
think I think I think as a player,
Hmm.
right? As a player, like you kind of get the sense of what the mad guy does, because
Hmm.
fighting for that idea in a video game that's very based off of action, getting
Hmm.
missions done, getting assignments done, right?
Hmm.
That has like a checklist of stuff that is more
Hmm.
uh quantitative, I guess, in nature. It's like you kind of do become like that madman who was going after this idea, because until you get all these things done, because
Hmm.
you can't quantify the amount of enemies you have to defeat in order for the job to be done. You can't quantify how many wounds you have to heal in order for the fight to be done. You can't
Hmm.
quantify how many vehicles you steal in order, all these
Yeah.
things. But then it's like, oh, this mission, I gotta save so and so. Oh,
Hmm.
okay. I better stock up on this whatever they
Hmm.
got, M4 ammo, AR ammo, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
AK, SKS, whatever it is, right? And
Hmm.
I'm gonna go get them out, and hopefully, and then once that's done, I can move on
Hmm.
to the next thing. But because the end is within sight and it's quantitative, it's like now I get to fight harder. Now I know
Yeah.
what I'm aiming at. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and even more than that, like you want your audience to feel invested in the person they're saving.
Yeah.
right? So, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm.
How many people genuinely wanted to save Micah? I didn't.
We had to go get him.
You
We,
had to go get him, but I didn't want to.
yeah.
You know, no desire. The only
Yeah.
reason why, the only thing that was good about that mission,
Yeah.
dual holsters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Did not want to save that character.
But
There's so many
Arthur kind
people
of
that
felt like
make
that too.
videos. Yeah, Arthur,
He was
Arthur felt
like,
like that
man, we
too.
gotta go get this.
Yeah,
We gotta
he
go
didn't
get this
want to do it.
dude. Yeah.
He didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Prime example. But then when you got to go save John, the
Yeah.
hot air balloon mission with Sadie,
Yeah. Yeah.
people felt that. People were like, yeah, we got to go save John. We got to go get him. And the whole time it's like Arthur doesn't like John. Arthur doesn't like Micah. Both characters he does not like. Why then did we feel so tied to saving John?
Wait a minute. Jo Wait a minute. John Marston?
Yep,
No, wait a minute. First of all, he didn't have a bone to pick with John Marston. He liked John.
he did in the beginning of the game. The beginning of the game, he had a bone picked with John Marston. He doesn't really care for him too much. He makes comments all the time about how he's gonna leave again, how he's lazy, all this stuff. Arthur constantly makes comments about John that he doesn't really care for John. People ask him, "What's with you and John?" Constantly in the
Yeah.
beginning of the game for probably like the first two, three chapters.
Okay.
Then there's a shift.
Oh, okay. So there's a change. You know what?
Yeah,
Now I think about that. I think you're right because yeah, because towards the end of the game it's like, man, I gotta go. I think there was even like a choice of like going after this person or going to save John at one point in time.
at the very end, yes, but
Yeah,
that's not the
yeah,
mission that I'm talking about. But
yeah.
yeah, at
Okay.
the very end, when you're trying to decide if you're going to have high honor or low honor, yeah, you
Mm,
either try to go back for the money or you try to make sure that John gets out of there safe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know anybody that's actually picked for the low honor, honestly, and felt good about it.
But
That game did so good at making you want to be loyal to the people that deserve to be loyal to, you know?
yeah,
Like being loyal to the wrong people has consequences, and that game shows that. A Rockstar game, for crying out loud, shows you that being loyal to the wrong people has consequences. You know, is crazy. But they did a really, really good job at doing that. How did they do it? They let you go on a journey with character.
if you
You
if you
became
like
invested.
if you like that game, you know what game you should play?
Was that?
Cyberpunk 2077.
You keep telling me,
I,
I gotta get it.
yeah, I mean, because it's choice and consequences, and like, and here's the thing: sometimes the choices aren't so apparent.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well, it's kind of like Mass Effect in that way. Sometimes choices aren't all that apparent.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you think the wrong choice is actually a good choice.
You know what? Because they're making another Mass Effect, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what they said the canon I think the canon ending was?
Huh?
The when you choose the red,
Yeah. I don't know if I believe that one.
they said when you choose the red, that's the canon ending. So remember when they released this so they did this experiment. This is really what they was doing. So
Yeah.
remember when they released this like legendary edition
Hmm. Yeah.
like two some years ago?
Oh yeah, I have it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what they did was they made you like hook up to the internet or made whoever hook up to the internet when you was playing the legendary edition so that
Hmm.
and they track the choices, who you saved throughout all three games, who you killed, did you make this choice, who you make major story choices throughout the three games. And then they basically used the data to figure out like what was going to be the canon ending. So
I guess that makes sense because you're constantly fighting against the machines essentially the whole time.
right. And so well, see, here's the thing. So now the canon ending is like when you choose the red, which is kind of like the renegade ending, which is like
Hmm.
you blow up all
Hmm.
the Reapers.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you simultaneously destroy the Mass Effect relays.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. But look, man, I
That
know.
actually makes a lot of sense.
I mean, but that's what they were shooting for them 3 games. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know why that would be considered a renegade ending, but that's beside the point.
I don't
So
know either. I think the Renegade ending would have been, you know, the blue, where you become essentially in charge of the Reapers and do
yeah,
whatever you want. That one seems more,
there's a third option.
yeah, I know. When you jump down the middle and you wind up giving souls to all the mechanics and everything.
Right, yeah, where like they become like sentient cybernetics or something like that.
Sentient, yeah, sentient cybernetics. Which,
I,
I mean, that's all right.
but listen, man, I know you
Yeah,
gotta go because
I got an hour.
what do you mean you got an hour?
6 my time, bro, not 6 your time.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
shoot, then we might as well get into this. Let's talk about this Last of Us 2 real quick. Let's talk about this Last of Us 2 real quick because
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
let
do it.
let me explain something to the people out there. Now look, he already knows this. I'm talking to you, the people out there. I'm talking to you. Okay? Jordan already knows this. I got a bone not to pick with The Last of Us 2 like specific. I disagree with the way that they handled that jump. Okay. Um,
Yeah, they
listen,
botched it.
and like there's 2 ways to look at this, really. There's really only 2 ways to look at this. There's the consumer perspective, and then there's the creative perspective.
Hmm.
Okay. Listen, from the consumer perspective, they done messed up. Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. They done messed up.
Yeah,
They,
they botched
they, you, that, first of all, the first Last of Us uh was winning awards, you know. They was winning awards. The story was good, you felt the loss. Remember well, who was his name? Sam, and what was his little brother's name? It was probably, I want to say Sam and Jackson or something like that. I want to say
something like that. Yeah,
yeah. They finally met some Ellie and Joel finally met some survivors. This isn't in the first game, by the way. They
yeah.
finally met some survivors. And they was actually like defending like the house or whatever that they were staying in.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, it was like I want to say it was the little one that got bit because
Yeah.
like the kid Jackson. I want to say his name was Jackson. I can't remember who was who, but the younger boy.
It's been so long since I played that game.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, it was like I think I was barely out of high school when that game came
Yeah,
out.
same, same. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was like 2014 that I played it, 2013 or
yeah,
2014.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, something like that. And so I played that, and then there was the whole mission. It was like, oh, stopping the horde of zombies from getting in on a house or whatever it was. All of a
yeah,
sudden, they came in. You couldn't do jack about it. That's just the way the
yeah,
story went. You
yeah,
couldn't do nothing about it. And
yeah.
so and so when you find out at the end of that dude got bit, it's like,
Hmm.
man, God had to put his brother down.
Hmm.
Like, and it wasn't like this dude was fully a monster. Like, first of all, them monsters, them zombie monsters, I call them mushroom heads because they look like they had the mushroom go. Okay, first of all, that you they look like they got them mushrooms going out their heads. You know which ones I'm talking about. You
Don't
ever
don't call don't. Don't call mushroom heads, brother.
Hey, pause. Look, that's not what we talk about. We talking about the
I
vegetable. We
know,
talking
but
about the vegetable. That's what that listen, you know what I hey, y'all
yeah.
know what I'm talking about. But look, that was like a thing where it's like, okay, you understand like the stories, like they had to put dude down. You like you know, like, and there's times in our lives where it's like you gotta lay somebody down.
Yeah.
You're like, and people experience this all the time. Maybe
Yeah.
not necessarily in that fashion, maybe
Yeah,
not
no.
necessarily, but
Hopefully not.
yeah, I hope not.
Yeah.
But think about the people that, their family is in the hospital,
Yeah.
you know, or, because of some disease or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, they was in some type of accident and now they're on a ventilator, now they're on life support.
Right.
People got to make them choices every day.
Yeah, they do.
And look, I've been blessed enough to where I haven't had to make that choice personally. But so see it in the story, it's like it's a very realistic choice that
Hmm.
people have to make. And
Yeah.
then it's like, man, I can't really live without my brother.
Mm,
So he decides to die.
yeah.
Listen, I don't condone that. I don't condone that. I don't like, listen, seek
But that's
Jesus.
that's
Huh?
yeah.
Seek
I mean, but
Jesus.
those, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say seek Jesus if any of y'all are like thinking like that, because I do want to point that out. And what was you gonna say to that?
I was gonna say they really captured true
I don't
emotions in
spit
that
on my hand.
moment. They captured real emotions in that moment. Like that's a true, real thing.
Yeah,
You know, when you lose someone and you are that tight knit with them and you love them that much, like it's so hard
yeah,
to keep going after they're gone. And maybe not to that level. Like I can understand if obviously zombies aren't real,
right,
but if we were in that kind of situation and I lost somebody that was that close to me in that kind of situation, dude, you'd have to stop me from going out there with some weapons just to see how many I could take out before they took me out.
right.
Plain and simple. You know, why? Because what's the point? But at the same time, like, I'm not the dude that's just gonna end it. I'm the dude that's gonna go, well, I'm gonna do something that's worth something, even if it's stupid. And that'll be good enough, you know.
Right.
And in that moment, it would be stupid. I will say that. Would it be for anybody's benefit but my own? Not really. But it would still be one of those where, like, maybe I could create some space for other people. But that is some real emotions right there that they tied into because people feel that. You know, you spouses are perfect examples. When you have someone who loses their spouse, heartbreak syndrome is a thing,
Yeah,
right? You know, people that are in their 40s, if their spouse dies and they're high school sweethearts, they don't last long. Not really. I mean,
mm,
sometimes they're okay and they move on, but the ones that don't, man, they die from a broken heart. And it's sad to watch.
mm, yeah. And and so that's why I'm like, I appreciate The Last of Us, or the first
Yeah.
Last of Us,
Oh, it was
right?
good. It was good.
And so to go from and you see that the choices that Joel has to make, how from he's changed twice.
Hmm.
He changed from the very start of the game, from losing his daughter
Hmm.
to like living the years to where it's like, man, this is cynical, the cynical kind of guy. And it's like,
Hmm.
now I'm out for me. I'm trying to get this money. I'm trying to survive. And we trying to, hopefully find a cure or whatever. right?
Hmm.
Then he meets this girl who is just, to him when he first meet, she's just the package. He's like the
Yeah.
transporter, right? He's
Yep.
just he just sees her as the package. Like you serve a greater purpose, right? Like
Hmm.
it's not about you. Like you're gonna help us. You're gonna help us heal the world, but
Hmm.
forcibly, right? So you're doing
Hmm.
something good, but you're also doing something that's like kind of against the will of her,
Hmm.
right? So then there's that. So he makes that choice. But over time, getting her to where she needs to go,
Hmm.
develop a bond and a dependency. Then he discovers what they truly have in mind for her. And then
Hmm.
he turns back into the father he was at the beginning.
I'll say that that just speaks into the identity of who Joel was at the whole time at his
Right.
core. I don't think that he necessarily was the dude that just did not care, was calloused 100%. Like, I think the reason why he was so calloused or appeared to be so calloused was because he had that father heart inside of him and he didn't want it to break again. And so he was shoving it down and covering it up with, we see this all the time, dude. Like when we went through coaching and everything, and when we have clients,
Right.
we build walls to protect ourselves. And so it's not really us, right? Someone
Mhm.
who has walls up, they're not being their true selves. They're being themselves with some walls. And it's hard to tell who they really are. But he remained true to his character the whole way through. If he
Mhm.
didn't have the daughter in the beginning and he was just this spiteful, angry, bitter, uh, don't care, no nonsense dude the entire time
Yeah.
from like the first interaction, he wouldn't have saved Ellie.
Yeah, no, and so and that's why I think it goes back to like the difference between I want to say a psychopath and a sociopath, right?
Yeah.
I think I think I think they actually discussed this when the first one first came out, when it was like Joel is technically a sociopath because it was the environment, it was the external environment of society that changed him, right? Instead
Mhm.
of there being an inward change or an inward kind of misfiring of the brain or
Mhm.
or just ill thinking, right?
Mhm.
The society kind of forced him to be as callous as he was, forcing him to throw up those walls. It was through the
Yeah.
bond, and ironically it was both it was isolation and yet community in the reverse sense that made him
Mhm.
take down enough walls to be like you said for the father, the heart of the father to shine through, right? And
Yeah.
so that's why we love the interaction because we love the story between them.
Mhm.
Now when Last of Us 2 came out, from a consumer's perspective, it seemed like all that they've been through, the
Mhm.
survival sense. So speaking about the mechanics, the survival sense, how he had his ear, right? The way that he talked about entering a certain situations, right? We don't know
Mhm.
who they are, blah blah,
Mhm.
whoopty whoopty whoop, right? So then it's like when he finally goes into this level to where it's like, okay, we're gonna meet so and so,
Mhm.
no survival instinct whatsoever,
Right.
right? And that's spoiler alert. That's that junk that got him killed.
Yep.
And not just got him killed like he went down in a blaze of glory or anything like that. He was blindsided, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and it was fairly early in the game,
Mhm.
right? And people was snapping disc in half, making returns on the game, setting their
Yep.
disc on fire, throwing it in a trash, deleting it from their hard drive, all this stuff,
Mhm.
right? And so that is what made me say, okay, from a consumer's perspective, this was a dumb choice. It also didn't help that Troy Baker, first of all, first of all, the cutscenes leaked for like it was like 40 minutes. It was like 40 minutes to an hour. It was like 40 minutes to an hour's worth of cutscenes that leaked all over Reddit and all over, on YouTube and like all over, and some even the triple X sites. You know what I'm talking about. The people know what I'm talking. The grown adults know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And then after it all leaked, I guess they found the leaker, forced the people to take down the thing, right?
Hmm.
The websites to take down all the cutscenes and junk like that. When
Hmm.
everybody had already seen it, everybody was blowing up Twitter at that time. It wasn't called X then;
Hmm.
it's called Twitter. Everybody was blowing up Twitter at the time. And then this dude, listen, I like Troy Baker, but respectfully, what you said, Troy, if you watching, look, I'm talking to you, Troy. If you watching, listen, I like you, but what you said back then, that mm-mm, mm-mm, that wasn't it, bro. Listen, Uncle Troy, talk to me. That wasn't it. Listen, he said, well, you gotta understand, you gotta experience the game. People don't know what they talk. 40 minutes worth, 40 minutes worth of cutscenes.
Hmm. Hmm.
We just gonna misunderstand that like we didn't watch half the movie.
Yeah.
You wanna
That's
you
like
wanna say
watching the
that?
ending of Endgame and then
Huh?
thinking that you need to see it anyway.
So look, we like respectfully see.
Hmm.
You know what, low key, I'm glad the last one didn't come through because I was way more disrespectful. I was way more disrespectful, but I ain't minded. You know,
Yeah.
I ain't mind. But listen, that wasn't it, bro. That was Uncle Troy. That wasn't it. I like you as a voice actor. You did great in Arkham Origins as the Joker. You imitated his Mark Hamill's Joker, which I think is the best animated Joker
Oh,
for me
1000%.
personally. For me personally.
1000%.
You said
Yeah.
what?
1000%.
Yeah, the you did that junk masterfully.
Hmm.
But I like you as Joel and what's his name? Samuel Drake or whatever his real last name is, because Drake is
Yeah.
not their last name. That's just a side thing, but that's
We're
that's
we're
a whole
sticking with
nother thing.
Samuel Drake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Samuel Drake. Yeah.
Right. But the Last of Us Part Two, you saying we don't
Mhm.
know what we talk about? No, because when the moment the game came out and people played the game, was like I said, people was treating those discs like LeBron's jersey when he left from Cleveland. That's how they was treating the disc. Am I lying? It was all over the thing and everything. People was people started up YouTube channels just so they could see them burn the disc. I ain't lying. That's just what happened. So I said that to say I said that to say it wasn't a great idea for him to defend that. It wasn't a great idea, at least not from that perspective. We already knew it was some bull. Everybody called it out. And so when people finally played it, even the people who gave it a chance, even the people that gave it a chance, like, nah, well, I guess I'll just see what he talking about, Angry Joe and all this other stuff. Not me, Angry Joe. I'm not angry, but the other Angry Joe was angry about it. He was like, you thought it was gonna be something different. He was like, it was exactly that we thought it was gonna be,
Yep.
and more.
Yep.
Because then they
Yep.
had a problem with they really had a problem with this person right here. It wasn't even so much with the character Abby. everybody said it was a fun character to play.
Yeah.
But she she looked like she took too many roids.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun
Yeah.
to play. Fun to play. So I've heard. I listen. I'm not buying this game or playing it off of principle. Just off of principle alone. I can't do it. You did my Joel dirty. That's what you
Yeah.
did. And so I
Yeah.
can't buy it off of principle. So that being said, that's all just the one perspective. That's just a
Yeah.
consumer perspective.
Yeah.
The creative perspective in me says I respect the choices that you made as a creative person
Okay.
because, and you already know this too, Jordan, because I don't want somebody else telling me what I can or cannot do with my characters.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to make them exactly how I want to make them. I want to make them go through whatever, however if I'm writing it is my thing. If you writing it is your thing. If you guys
Yeah.
out there want to write your own story, y'all mad about some of these stories that's being out here, to write your own story.
Yeah.
That's it
Just
at the
make
end of
it
the day.
just make it true to the character. That's the
Right.
only thing that I'll say.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. And so,
Yeah.
but same time, here's where the balance comes in at. The balance is you have a right to make the characters however you want to make them. You have a right
Yeah.
to make them as buffoonish or as contrary to their previous iterations as you want them to be. You can start from scratch and you can make Master Chief look exactly like Cortana if you want to. You don't focus on that too much. My whole point is this.
Trying to think how would that work.
Look, look, my whole point is this. You can do exactly what you want with all the characters, their histories, turn them from male to female, from black to white, from white to black, make them this, make them that. Have
Hold on.
have
Hold. Brother, they never turn it from black to white. They don't do that.
I'm not.
They go white to black.
I understand that. I understand that. All I'm saying is, you can have them be Native America and Chinese all at the same time. Look, you can
Yeah.
do all of that. They can be paraplegic and walking upright all at the same time. Okay? You can make your characters exactly however you want to and present the story however nonsensical or sensical it may be. And you can
Yeah.
present that out to the public. That is your choice.
Yeah.
However, if you put out foolishness that people don't like, expect foolishness backlash. That's all I'm saying. If you know
Yeah.
people don't like this, if the artist in you great so overrides the business perspective in you,
Hmm.
and you come up with some like avant-garde piece of art saying, oh well, the Chinese person is the Native American and they're walking and they're in a wheelchair but can walk upright and they can change into their two-bird spirit animal that is also a penguin and a jaguar at the same time and walks upright as a human, sounding like the riddle of the Sphinx, right? They can they can do all of that. You expect a backlash. Expect a backlash. I'm sorry. You put it out in public, that's what you're gonna get. I'm sorry. Ran over. That's all I wanted to say with The Last of Us 2. That's all I wanted to say.
Just that last bit, the riddle of the Sphinx. I wasn't expecting.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
That's hilarious. Oh,
People know
let's
people
go.
going like people I guarantee you people are gonna not know. But this first of all, this make me want to go on
Yeah,
a side rant.
I
If
know.
if there's too many people that don't understand that they didn't focus in school.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
mean,
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know,
But So one thing I will say, and
Yeah.
I'm curious, I don't know, I haven't really watched the playthroughs. I've only seen part of the cutscenes on Last of Us 2, and that's why I was like, nah, I'm not interested. Um,
And the AI is stupid. Go ahead.
yeah, it's stupid. I didn't know that.
They had some
But
problems towards the beginning. Maybe they patched it. I have no idea.
oh really?
Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, did she play differently than Joel, or was she like just as strong as Joel? Like the
Who,
Abby
Ellie?
character. Allie, Abby, whatever, the roided out character.
Oh, shoot. I think shoot. I think she was like tanking people.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I
What
think
about
they
Ellie?
I think she played heavily similar to Joel.
Mhm.
Um it might have been like a little bit. When I say little bit more realistic, I'm talking about a little like, well, more realistic according to her character, like more in line with her character.
Okay. See, I
Uh,
respect that.
yeah,
Um, Part of the reason why I respect, I don't know why, I'm just gonna say it.
yeah.
I get why people love God of War 4 so much, because
Hmm.
I do too. Great game.
Which
Balder,
one's for?
amazing villain. That's the one with Balder. That's
Okay.
the uh
When they
when Atreus is still a kid, you
Yeah,
know.
when they stopped using numbers, I stopped keeping track of which one's which.
Yeah, I think it's just God of War. I don't think it's like I don't
Yeah.
remember the name of it,
They just
but
say God of War 2018.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but they did an amazing job with that game. It was beautiful. It was great. Baldur was an amazing villain to go against. He was broken. He was crazy. It was awesome. Um, I played that game so hard, dude. Like I even beat what's her name? The Queen of the Valkyries. I
Huh.
beat her. And a
Surgeon or
lot of
something
people,
like that.
yeah, something like that. A cert, not Surtur. Anyway,
Yeah,
her name will come to me in a minute. But I beat her. It took a while, but I beat her. I used Realm Shift and everything. Like, and a lot of people that play that game don't beat her. I have friends that have played that game multiple times through,
hmm,
and they've never beaten her. Never beaten her. But I did. Why? Because I don't know. The game was awesome, and I wanted to beat all the Valkyries, so I did.
yeah,
Um, but God of War Ragnarok gets a bad rep because the villains aren't as fun to fight and all this other stuff. And I hear what they're saying, like, Odin wasn't very hard to beat. Like, I get it, but
yeah,
you gotta at least respect the overall story.
yeah, yeah,
You gotta respect that. You gotta respect the heartache of losing Brock. You gotta expect all of the different decisions that came into play. The fact that when you switch to playing as Atreus, you don't play as Kratos.
right, yeah,
It's completely different. The fact that like these writers were so in tune with these characters. Like I'm gonna go nerd out here for a second.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
How does Kratos open chests? He either puts his fist through it or he rips it open, right?
yeah,
Atreus goes the first chest he tries to break, and they started out this way. It's awesome. First chest, he's with Sindri. He goes to break the chest. He punches it, and he hurts his hand. He's like, I guess I can't do that. Then Sindri makes fun of him, and he grabs his bow and he smashes it with his bow.
yeah,
From a writer's perspective, same outcome, different method.
right,
I respect that. I respect that highly. Why? Because as a writer, no two people are the same,
hmm,
right? So, like, for instance, this book here, this is the first of a trilogy.
hmm,
The main character in this book is not the main character of the second book. The main character in this book is in the second book, but they're not the main character. So, I can't have the main character of the second book be exactly the same as the main character of this book. Because then it's just the same story regurgitated.
Right.
It's the same person regurgitated. And that's not what it is, right? So this individual has to be different in certain ways. And then you can decide which character you like to be more, which character you like to read about more, whatever it might be. But they did so good, the difference between Atreus and Kratos in that. Even the fighting style, mechanics, and everything else. Atreus is fighting with a bow.
Hmm.
Kratos is fighting with an axe. His
Blades of Chaos.
Blades of Chaos, and then he gets the spear.
Yep.
Completely different weapon set than just the bow.
Right.
So Atreus operating with the bow, using his magic to make it a shield because he doesn't have a shield like Kratos has a shield. He can't block as much as Kratos. He can't hit as hard as Kratos. You have to use different methods to beat people than you do with Kratos. Like the fact that they played all of that into the scope of these two different characters that you play as the entire time really drove the story in a way that if you just made Atreus a baby Kratos, it wouldn't have fit.
Right.
It just wouldn't have fit. Now, I will
Even
say
until
this.
their personalities.
Yeah, even to the personalities were completely different too. You
Well,
know,
I well, I
Kratos,
mean, I mean the way that they attack stuff, like you
yeah,
you you figure the way they fight is the way that they kind of approach stuff socially.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
Kratos is very much, I'm gonna smash it because that's what I do.
Right. So he's a very
You know,
straightforward person. No nonsense.
straightforward person. Yeah,
Yeah.
Atreus, maybe I can talk my way out of this. Completely different mentality. But the whole reality of Atreus is desperately trying to prove himself the entire time. Kratos is trying to save his son and make it so that he doesn't lose yet another loved one. That really plays into everything too. Because Kratos is just trying to get his son back. He's trying to find a way for his son to get home. He's trying to protect his son even from a distance. Atreus is like, I got to prove to my dad that I can be a man. I got to prove to my dad that I could do this. That I'm not a failure. That I'm not a mistake. That we don't have to hide. And so you can tell that with these characters and everything. Mechanics wise, game mechanics.
Yeah.
Three things I would have done. Thor wouldn't have died.
Okay.
Reason why. Thor's character would have been essential for later.
Okay.
For one reason and one reason only. Why is it that the Greek gods get one god that is actually okay, which is Kratos,
Hmm.
but the Norse gods don't? I think if they would have kept Thor, allowed him to remain, allowed him to step into new realms and everything, that could have potentially made a big bad later down the road for Atreus with Thor. Because yes, Thor had a change of heart in the moment, but what would happen once he got Asgard if Asgard didn't fall? If the whole thing like turned out to where Asgard didn't fall?
Well, wait a minute. Wait a
Yeah,
minute. How do you do that? How do you do that and still keep like and still keep Surtur, right? Because Surtur is already unleashed.
because you do this to the point where okay, so sorry, not lose Asgard is lost, but that's what drives Thor into madness again. Is what I meant to say. Lose
Okay.
Asgard. He lost Asgard, drives into madness. Another play would have been when Thor hit the serpent, world serpent, back in time.
Hmm.
If Thor went back in time as well.
Okay.
And so when he comes all of a sudden he appears back. He's older, he's more grizzled, he knows what's gonna happen. He comes in, Odin gets taken out, and then all of a sudden old, angry, fit Thor shows up.
Was he ever fit?
Fit in the sense of uh um not like rippled fit, but like dude is still ready for battle
Right, right, right.
kind of fit. Like he's not old and decrepit. Like he's still very strong. If you have that happen,
That would be a fight because I mean,
that'd be a fight.
Like Kratos struggled with
Hmm.
Thor, out of shape Thor.
But that was also Kratos that didn't want to kill anybody. That was
No,
that was broken Kratos.
well, I'm talking about the first fight.
Yeah, I know. That was broken Kratos. Broken Kratos that didn't want to kill anybody, didn't want to fight anybody. In that first fight, Kratos was not Kratos. He
Okay,
didn't have his Blades of Chaos on him. He had to
okay,
call the axe. His shield got broken. Like that wasn't Kratos Kratos. That was a different Kratos.
okay.
So I say all that to say like it would have kept it a little bit more interesting in my opinion.
Hmm.
Allowed for a little bit more story in that realm later. I think they kind of did a disservice by taking away the Norse in two games. I think they could have done it in three, and it would have been better in three. Um, the other side of that, they played out the way that they did. That's fine, totally fine. Let's play it out that way. The game mechanics. This is what I would have done.
Okay.
Kratos and Atreus are fighting Odin hard. They're the only two fighting Odin at this point, right?
Hmm.
They're fighting Odin. Kratos is starting to lose. You're having an issue. All of a sudden, you get a highlight on your screen that says, like, up on the D-pad to throw axe or something like that, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, you skip the Leviathan axe past Odin. Atreus has the axe.
Okay. So like team
Why?
moves?
Team moves. And the reason why, because yes, the axe was given to Kratos by his wife,
Hmm.
but it's not Mjolnir. It's not wielded by only one person.
Okay.
The axe can be wielded by multiple people. You throw that axe to Atreus, who has the blood of his mother, the last of the frost giants, the one who was given that axe in the first place, the last of the frost giants. Now, Atreus comes out with the axe, boom, hits Odin from behind. Now you have the giants, the savior of the giants, the warrior of the giants, wielding the giant's weapon versus Odin.
Hmm.
And you have the god of war fighting Odin. You got father and son going back to back, throwing strikes, whatever. All this stuff is happening. It's crazy. It's wild. Maybe even passing the axe back and forth, kind of like Endgame with Mjolnir and Stormbreaker with Thor and Cap. That kind of
Yeah.
thing happening. Um, then at the end of the fight, you have Atreus and Kratos. They're both suffering. Odin is a tough fight. It's hard. He's whooping up on them, even with these different things that they're doing. Um, Instead of having uh, Freya come in with the noose, like yeah, sure, she does that, and Odin is kind of bound for a second. Um, but instead of having his soul put into the stone or the marble or something that should have only happened for the giants, instead of that happening, you stick to the lore of the Norse mythology. A tear erupts in the realm.
Okay. Into that unknown space that the
And that,
mask is from?
yes, Atreus's wolf comes out. The one that got put into the Hell Wolf that can go through different realms and everything.
Yeah.
I forget his name off the top of my head. But his
Hoffney or something like that.
yeah, but Atreus is Wolf's name. I'm trying to remember his wolf's name. Um, anyway,
Yeah.
that wolf all of a sudden comes out of nowhere when Odin thinks that he's winning, and just Atreus is the one who calls the wolf in. Wolf comes out, bam, takes Odin. Odin's gone. Why? Because that fits the Norse lore and mythology. It solves it up in that problem. So all those people that are obsessed with that, you play to that crowd a little bit.
Right.
And that's not copyright because it's lore, it's myth, it's legend.
Yeah.
Nobody nowadays came up with it. You totally would have gotten away with it if you did your homework.
Well, you can't even copyright it anyway
No,
because
there's
it's
no way
too.
to.
Well, yeah. Well, that and it's too old.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's no way to because it's too old.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have him come out, snag him up. Odin's done.
Mhm.
Realm shift opens. He disappears. Now they're all going to die because Surtur is driving his sword into the heart of
Asgard.
Asgard. And then the wolf comes back. They all jump on his back and they get out.
Do
Right?
you okay, what you do about here's something that I'm like here's something
Yeah.
that I was like I wish they did something with her. What do you do
Mhm.
about what's her name? Surtur's wife.
Oh, yeah. No, I think she would have come in the third game. I think she should have been the big bad in the third game.
Okay.
The big bad. Like maybe Thor comes back wanting vengeance, but the big bad is really her because you killed Surtur.
Well, okay. But she's not gonna be as powerful, you know?
No, no. But she
I,
has influence.
I wish we were able to fight Surtur.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
That would have been off-putting. I'm not gonna lie.
If you tried to save Asgard after beating Odin.
Yeah. I mean, but what you said speaks to like the whole internal struggle of
Yeah.
Kratos's character. One of the internal struggle of Kratos's character, which is the idea of fighting against fate.
Yeah.
And prophecy was like, well, and then it's like, okay, well, if you have Odin escape, which you
Hmm.
said sets up the third game,
Hmm.
partially. I don't know if Surtur's wife can be a big bad of the third game if Odin escapes.
I was saying Thor escapes, not Odin.
Oh, okay. Okay, well
Yeah.
then, okay. So then the question becomes is like, why does she
Or,
become a big bad if Thor escapes? If he's gonna turn
well,
back to evil.
because here's my thought.
Okay.
They keep calling Atreus Loki.
Right?
I always thought, what if there was actually a giant that was Loki that winds up coming to life and he winds up taking over the body of Surtur and bonds with Surtur's wife?
And so it become like a Kronos type of fight.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Might be too much. Might be too out there. But
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how you. Does I like because she wouldn't keep her powers.
right.
So
I don't know.
you like
Maybe she's
you will hope she
maybe
keep her
she's the
ice
one.
powers.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, in the same sense, like the permanent frost that happened in Asgard in Ragnarok, I think that would go away and then it would come back and she'd be the reason why it came back. Maybe like she's using the last of her powers to make it come back and she's driving some people to madness with it or something like that. Um, How to make her the big bad, I'm not sure.
Do you think he
Uh,
should have fought the giant bird?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Why? What reason would you have to fight the giant bird?
Uh, for bringing Zeus to torment Kratos and all
So
this
you're gonna
other
bring
stuff.
him back?
Well, maybe not Zeus, but like in the game, she brought back Zeus. The bird brought Zeus, right?
Well, yeah, but that was more of like a. I think that was more kind of like an inner manifestation type of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Maybe not fight the bird. I think maybe fighting the bird would cause too many
Yeah,
issues.
yeah.
Um,
John, listen, I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to like God of War, like
yeah,
especially 2018, 2019, giant characters just are off-putting to me, especially in spaces that are like,
yeah.
like okay, like the what was it? The edge of like nowhere,
Oh yeah, yeah.
or what was it? What was it called? It's not called the edge of nowhere.
It's not
It's
nowhere. No, that's Guardians of the Galaxy.
like the point of origin, or like
Yeah,
it's
something
like
like that.
it was like the it's like the edge of the universe, the point of nowhere, or like it was something like that. That off-putted me, like just visually speaking,
Okay.
because like and so did what's the what's the Niflheim? Nifl?
Yeah, Niflheim.
Yeah, where the bird lives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like no, all them things are just off-putting to me because I'm like that's like a lot of the unknown stuff, and
Yeah, yeah.
it
Makes
makes
sense.
you, and then when you have this giant thing off in the distance, much like how
Hmm.
Jormungandr was in the first
Hmm.
game, I'm like that I can't do it. The snake too
Yeah,
big.
I don't like snakes. That bothered me.
Well,
I
no,
don't like
I'm
it.
just saying general. Like I'm like I don't know if I'm gonna have to fight this thing. Like I don't know if this is
Yeah,
just waiting for a fight. Like I don't even
yeah,
know.
yeah.
It just yeah.
Well, here's my other thought. So after you beat Odin and everything, I don't want to ruin the game for too many people, but honestly, if you haven't played God of War Ragnarok yet,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
right.
Anyway, if you go and you find all the ravens, do you know what happens?
Yeah, you have to fight the like the witch that trapped them there or something like that,
And then what?
and then they become free.
Who?
The birds, the
Yeah, the
spirit of the
birds become
birds.
free. There's more to it, though.
Uh,
I might ruin this for you.
no. I 100% at the game. It's
Yeah,
just been so long to where I just don't remember.
you find Tyr, the real Tyr.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the real Tyr,
Yeah. And yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So they came out with the DLC Valhalla, right?
Yep.
And you're fighting Tyr, and he's like doing all these different things from different lands and everything, and he's trying to help you be like come to grips with yourself. I think, and this is me personally, it would
Hmm.
have been better if at the end of it all,
Hmm.
the third game, Atreus discovers Tyr was actually behind a lot of the devastation that's happened through all the realms, and he is actually a big bad, was just hiding behind Odin the entire time.
What?
Because
And Odin was doing his bidding?
no, he was manipulating Odin. Odin didn't know that Tyr was manipulating him. Odin thought he was manipulating Tyr. So it's a double,
Okay.
and he wasn't necessarily doing Tyr's bidding, he was doing Odin's bidding, but Tyr was allowing it. He allowed himself to be captured. He allowed these things to take place
Okay.
because he had bigger plans.
What would be the point of that?
To have him be able to come in and be like, "Oh, I'm the god of peace and da da da, da. I'm the one that you guys were waiting for, and I was captured by Odin and all these things. I've come back. I'm free now." And so everybody trusts him.
Okay.
Now he's set himself up for a good position.
Yeah, but
Because if you play Valhalla and you try to play all that, Tyr, Tyr is a problem, dude.
yeah,
He is hard to fight.
I
He is
heard
a
that he's got four different
problem.
weapons, three or four different weapons.
Yeah, he's got four,
You know,
and it's
apparently his like when you find him like throughout the realms, the developers were
yeah,
saying like it's supposed to set up the clue for like the next place that Tyr's gonna go.
yeah, which is going to be Egypt, but yeah,
Well,
it's out,
well,
it's either going to be Egypt or Aztec or the Mayans, one of the two.
could be China.
China,
He was doing Tai Chi
okay, yeah,
because they were
possibly,
saying they were saying because they were saying okay, well he's doing all these poses and stuff like that. This is before Valhalla came out. And he was like,
mm,
"Oh, well, after the game, you can find Tyr throughout the realms, and if you find him throughout
yeah,
the realms, he has like these set of animations that he's doing, and the set of
yeah,
animations are kind of like hints to like where we're thinking about taking him next, taking
yeah,
Kratos on his adventure next." And he was doing like Tai Chi, and then he was like meditating, and then he was
mm.
so it was like so I'm like, it could be somewhere more Eastern.
See, I want Tyr to be the big bad for Atreus, though, not Kratos.
Okay.
And I'll have to explain why in a different episode because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
But essentially, I'll break it down this way.
Yeah.
If it's Tyr versus Kratos, it's Kratos fighting Kratos, essentially. If it's Atreus fighting Tyr,
What would be the benefit of Atreus fighting Tyr though?
well, for one, they're both giants, so that kind of brings in that whole thing, you know.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. I got some ideas with it. Like in my mind, I just think that it would be interesting because maybe even if it's not Tyr being 100% bad, but just understanding that Atreus needs to fight him, kind of like he did with Valhalla, where Kratos needed to fight him for whatever reason. Um, but because Atreus was manipulated by Odin through the personification of Tyr, and like it's almost like a coming to grips with his mistake by facing this guy, and yeah,
Let me ask you something. Does
all
Kratos
right,
get a third kid? Because remember,
with Freya, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, with
Because
Freya, yeah,
I'm
needs to,
like that's a complicated relationship. Like
needs to. I'm
that's
sorry,
huh?
needs to, needs
And
to, not should, needs to have a child with Freya,
why?
needs to.
Why?
Because you think about it this way, like she's lost her son. He's the one
Yeah,
who took her son.
right. They buried the
Kratos
hatchet
now doesn't have his son,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Kratos no longer has his son, and Atreus is running off doing other things. They're both desperate.
With Angraboda or Agraboda, however you pronounce the name.
Yeah. What about her?
No, that's who he went off with.
Oh yeah, he went off and everybody. But
But I'm like in that Valhalla because I seen some clips of the Valhalla like
hmm
when I was
hmm
like, wait a minute. I was like,
yeah,
wait a minute, you putting some
yeah.
extra sauce on like the way you saying hi and bye to him, like it's just like what's going on right now?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, what was
They're
I'm sitting
more
there
than
like
good. Right.
they good. Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
As
but I
long
mean,
as as long as he
and
knows
I'm
how to woo.
does he really have to? I mean, look at him.
No,
I
I
mean,
just no, that was just a callback to that discussion that they had in the
oh,
game. Yeah.
he can have talks with the head for a little bit, you know.
Oh, Mimir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I think it would be wise for them to, only because and honestly I think that's why it'd be interesting to have uh someone from Freya's past show up to the big bad.
Yeah.
in the third game and have her with him as if like she winds up having a child and now he has to protect his family again.
Yeah.
But this time he actually gets to protect his family with his wife at his side. I
Yeah.
think that would be important. I think that'd be cool. But I don't know. I
Well,
wouldn't
man,
mind.
we'll
I
we'll
wouldn't mind
see.
it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
Well, look, it's getting to be that time for real
it
this
is, brother.
time.
Yep.
And I know you got that appointment. And
Gotta
so
work.
look, this is a 2 hour episode. And
Heck yeah,
and
man.
uh and
We should break it up into two parts.
should we?
We should like end it and then when you start The Last of Us 2.
Okay. When I start the Last of Us 2 rant.
Yeah, yeah. That way we have two episodes. I think it works.
Sure. I mean, we just won't have an intro or anything like that.
We use the intro from the first one. We cut, place. We use the ending from this one, the outro. We're good.
I
You
I
can edit.
I
I trust you.
listen. Look. We'll think about that one. We'll think about that one. I feel like it works better as like one whole thing,
That
but
works.
we'll see. But for the viewers out there, thank you guys so much for watching
Yep.
this episode of Mechanics of Myth. And
Hmm.
we got into some different discussions. We didn't know where we was going there for the first little bit, but it circled back around. We got you guys,
That's kind of how
and
we do it.
that is how we do it. We talk like this. This is just what happens. But
That's just us, man.
we'll catch you on the flip side or something. I don't know. Stay blessed, stay encouraged in Jesus' name. What like I don't listen. I don't know how to end these things. What you
Well,
got?
also, real quick, if y'all are looking to do live action murder mystery dinner party games, I will shake this up a little bit. No, I will not do that. Yeah, that's better. This is Get Nogged, A Crime Before Christmas. What this is a 30-person live action role play murder mystery dinner party game where you can have a party, have people come over, they all get a script, they get a character. You guys can role play, cosplay, dress up as the person, have, you know, whatever you want to do in the sense of like, if you just want to sit in, like, here's your character, race, set, go, or if you want to give them preparation, don't matter. But everybody has a script. Everybody gets to try to see who the murderer is. There's 15 different possible outcomes. So you could play this over and over again. Every character is based off of Christmas lore all over the world. It's just a fun game. Joe and I created it. It is for sale on Amazon right now. Get Nog, A Crime Before Christmas. Y'all know the holidays are coming up. This is the perfect
Yeah.
time to get this game. Get yourself some murder mystery dinner party game going. Whatever holiday parties you've got going, this is going to be fun. We actually did it recently for a ministry that I'm part of, and it was a great time. We had a great time. It was awesome. So pat ourselves on the back with that one, and also pick up yours at Get Nogged, A Crime Before Christmas on Amazon by Jordan Flowers and Joe Smallwood today.
Like I said, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Stay blessed, stay encouraged in Jesus' name.
I come out and you come out super chill.
I look, I don't know.